just. You want me to start from objectives or the beginning slide, the first slide?
No, objectives I think would be fine.
Okay. Okay, guys. So this is our all of we have 3 objectives, right? So we went through them already. So we looked at what is a letter. A letter is a written message from one individual to another. It is an important form of communication. All right, informal letter. Who is an informal letter written to? Who do we write, or who would you write an informal letter to? Now remember, we're going to put this up on, it's going to be on YouTube, and we're going to put in the link in our Google Classroom. Mr. Joaquin is going to send the link to you guys. To a friend, okay?
Someone said family manager. Laurent said manager.
Manager. We said an informal letter. An informal letter is also known as a what letter? An informal letter is also known as a what letter?
Friendly letter.
Yes, a friendly letter.
Very good.
Be writing a friendly letter to a manager? Think about it.
You'd be like, so hey, good. Friend, how are you? Your manager now. Okay.
Laurent, you shouldn't.
That's okay, Laurent. That's okay. Don't feel that way. Okay, so we write a friendly letter to a friend, a family member, or an acquaintance. So you guys were all correct. Yes, you can write these. You can write it down if you
can screenshot it.
Yes, whichever is better for you. It is also known as a friendly letter, and yes, you guys are correct as well. Okay, so anytime you're writing a letter to a friend, a family member, or acquaintance, you're writing a friendly letter or an informal letter. Okay? Now, can anyone tell me before we move to the next slide, how many parts do we have in a friendly or informal letter? How many parts are there in a friendly letter?
What slide are you on now, Ms. Dennis?
I'm on slide 6.
Oh,
I mean, 5. Okay. Yeah, 6.
Okay.
All right, so I see majority or most persons are saying 5. Let's see if you guys are correct. Ding, ding, ding. You are correct. There are 5 parts to a friendly letter in the chat. And together now, if you're to type it together, don't send it separate. Can you tell me in the chat the different parts of the friendly letter, the 5 parts? Can you name the 5 parts of the friendly letter? Make sure put it all together in one message. One message. Paris.
All right, Stephanie says heading, salutation, body, closing, signature. Wow. Riddle that off, man. Greeting, heading, body, closing, signature.
Okay.
Alicia, can you please enter the meeting using your full name?
All right, Krista says heading, salutations, body, closing, signature.
Okay. So you guys, let's see if you're correct. So we have the heading, which is the writer's address and date. Then we have the salutation, which is the greeting, which you were correct as well. Then you have your body, which is your paragraphs. Then you have your closing and your final The final part of a friendly letter would be your signature. So you guys, yes, you all were correct. Good job. Now, before we go into, at least before we look at the sample or before we look at a friendly letter, can you tell me when we, for the heading, when it says here, writer's address, what, can you tell me what do they mean by writer's address, or what information would be there based on the writer? What information would we have there for the writer's address?
Okay.
What information will we have there for the writer's address? Okay, I see someone said P.O. Box. Yes, you're correct. What
Laron,
else?
said P.O. Box.
Good job. Good job.
Laron says the country. Alicia says where they live.
Okay.
Eversina says date.
Yes, we know the date, but I want to know about the writer's address. So yes, you guys are correct. So you're having the P.O. Box as well as you're having the country, right? So where exactly they're located. So let's look at how a friendly letter, or the format of a friendly letter. You know, the writer's address and date is always in the right-hand corner, right? No, it doesn't go in the margin. It's before the margin, right? Yes. So it's at the top right of your page. Then we have the greeting, which goes on your left. It goes at least a line or two lines under your heading on the left hand side. Okay, so that's there, Lisa. And remember, anytime you're writing a friendly letter, what should always come after the person name? A comma or a colon? This is a friendly letter now. You should always have a comma or colon, because a lot of you get this mixed up. Yes, you are correct, a comma. Because remember, we're talking about something that's informal, okay? And then we have our body. Then after your body paragraph, at the bottom right, you would have your closing, which is your friend. And then you have your comma. Remember your comma again after your closing. And then you would have your signature. Now remember, when you have your signature, it should only be your first name. First name. Okay? So remember, your closing and signature comes at the bottom of the right of your body paragraph. Okay? So let's look at the structure of a friendly letter. So remember, I said your heading is at the top right. So we have here your P.O. box, whatever your P.O. box is, whether it's CB, N, S, which is, I think, South Beach, SS, South Beach, or SB.
Oh, I
Then
think
we have,
San Salvador too.
Yeah, SS is Shirley Street, and then you have
San Salvador.
CR,
Oh,
Carmichael Road.
oh, okay. See, I
Okay,
didn't
all
even
right.
know. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome, awesome. Okay, I learned something new today. I mean, I know there were abbreviations, but I didn't know the abbreviations. Okay, awesome. Then we have Nassau, comma, NP, and then we have a full stop and a comma. That would, NP would be what? What is NP? What is NP, students?
Come on, guys. You know
What
this
does
one.
NP stand for?
You guys should be on this.
That's
Get
great.
on this, like white on rice. On this. Come on.
New Providence, you are
Yay.
correct.
All right, good stuff.
You are correct. And after you have, remember, after you have your comma after Nassau, you have your N dot P dot comma, then you have the Bahamas full stop. Now, it may get a little tricky, but let me explain. If you don't want to put NP and you just want to put Nassau, you just want to put Nassau, Bahamas, you do not need to put the Bahamas underneath. All you would have to put is Nassau, comma, Bahamas. Skip a line and then your date. But if you are going to put New Providence or the abbreviation for New Providence, you have to put the Bahamas after Nassau, comma, NP. Then you have to put the Bahamas. Am I correct, Ms. Toot? Am I correct, Mr. Joaquin?
Yes. But there's also another way without using abbreviations. I believe that's the open format, Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Yeah, with
And I
the open
actually,
format students, I normally tell them to use that format because I don't want them to get confused with all of the punctuation
yeah,
marks and to forget a
Yes,
punctuation marks because
yes.
you will lose
you'll
points
forget.
when you're taking the exam if you forget to put punctuation in the correct place.
Yes.
Now, Mrs. Toot, you would have much more experience with marking letters than I think I do.
Yeah.
But I remember a couple of years ago, we had almost 3 years. In fact, we had a workshop at LW Young. And one of the things that they told, like, they made it seem as though, like, the punctuation for the letter was so, like, they were accepting things that I didn't think they would accept.
Yes.
Wow.
For the heading, because Ms. Mucci was right there and she was like, oh yeah, this, don't worry, don't stress, don't worry about that, this is fine, we'll permit this. And
Yes, they do
yeah,
accept certain things when it comes up. They realize that, okay, this can be accepted because
Yes.
some things are universal. So if the students use that,
mhm.
and they weren't necessarily taught that by maybe the examiner marking that paper, then they sometimes do still award them the points.
Okay, all right, okay, so that's, you've heard it here first, folks. Our resident um letter marker expert, our letter expert. All right, just dropping the knowledge.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So I always, well, me personally, in my classroom, I teach my students P.O. Box, whatever your P.O. Box is, and I teach them Nassau, comma, Bahamas. And then I
Mm-hmm.
tell them skip a line for their date. The reason I tell them that is because I feel as though, just like you indicated with the punctuation marks, it's
Yes.
much easier
Yeah,
and
I do the
they don't
same.
get confused.
Yes, I do the same.
Hmm.
So, students, if you were to write your friendly letter and you put P.O. Box and then you put Nassau, comma, N dot P dot comma and Bahamas dot, that would still be correct. And your
Yes.
date, skip a line and have your date, that's still correct.
Yes. Just
But
remember that your punctuation has to be consistent. If you start
yeah,
using punctuation, you can't stop. Okay?
thank you. Thank you. So you can, this is still the correct, but also if you were to write a letter, friendly letter, and you put P.O. Box, Nassau, comma, Bahamas, and you skip a date and you put your date, you are still correct. Okay, I just wanted to point that out because I know how I taught my students and they may be looking at this like, Miss Dennis never taught me this. But I want
Mm.
you to understand there are two different ways that you can actually have your heading, okay? So good. Now let's look at the greeting, which is oh so simple. So your greeting, you have dear Lisa, dear Sam, dear Nana, and then you make sure you always put your comma. I think you guys, for the most part, Ms. Tudor, Mr. Walking, if I'm not mistaken, for the most part, students always get this right when it comes to friendly letter. They always have the comma. But I feel as
Yes.
though when it comes to the formal letter, the business
Yeah.
letter,
Yeah,
that's
Yeah,
where
they
it
get
gets
mixed up.
confusing for them,
Mhm.
right? Okay.
yeah,
So
the
now then,
struggle.
struggle is real when it comes to that.
But also students, remember that your greeting should go on by your left margin directly.
Margin, yes.
Yeah, so do not indent. I see that error a lot in
How
your
would you
writing.
say
Do
in
not indent for the greeting, okay?
Wow. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, Ms. Tooth, thank you so much for pointing it out because I mean we're all learning from each other. I've never seen that before. So that's a
Yeah.
good point. So yeah, so Ms. Tooth, like Ms. Tooth said, the expert, we are make sure your greeting is by your margin. And also when you start your paragraph, your first paragraph and you indent, where do you start writing from? A lot of students get confused with this part. Where do you start writing?
Mm.
Where
You
do
ask
you
me.
begin writing?
You're asking some deep questions, man. So they have to dig deep. Dig deep, guys. Come on. You know this.
Where do you begin your paragraph, students? Come on, who that is? Who is that?
Alicia, the first letter of the second word of greeting. Tanisha says under the person's name.
Mr. Walking, are they correct? Please let us know.
Well, I would say that Alicia says the first letter of the second word. You mean the name? Okay, so yeah, I would say you would begin under the person's name.
Yes. So you guys are correct.
Mm-hmm.
You begin your paragraph, you start, or once you indent, the beginning of your paragraph should start underneath the name of the person who you're writing to. That is where you start from the first letter of the name, the first letter of the name of the person, okay? So Lisa, as soon as you indent, you're supposed to start writing right on the L. That is where you start from. Okay, so you are correct, Alicia. Good job. I am so happy that you remembered that. And then we have your closing, your friend, and remember your comma after friend. Now, I get this a lot of you guys, anytime you're writing your closing, you guys, some of you make the mistake of capitalizing your and friend, the F in friend. No, you're not supposed to do that. You should always have a capital letter for your, and any other word after your, you should have a small letter, okay? Or small caps only. All right? And then you have your comma, and then your first name only. First name only. And remember, your first name starts right under your. Okay? Now, wasn't that easy?
Mm-hmm. They've been doing it from grade 7, so
Yes.
it should just be review.
Yes, yes. And I needed to stick. I needed to stick. So we said, well, so you guys explain to me what is formal and what is informal. Now I need you to explain to me what is a formal letter. If a informal letter is a casual letter or a written letter of communication between friends, acquaintances, family members, what is a formal letter? What is a formal letter, guys? Yes, a formal letter is a business letter. You are correct. But what is the purpose of a formal letter? Formal letter. Let me say that. What is the purpose of a formal letter? Or why do we need a formal letter?
Okay, so Christelle is saying for business.
Okay, for business, but We're saying, remember we said an informal letter is used to communicate, a form of written communication between family, friends, pen pals, and all that good stuff. What would be the purpose of writing a formal letter? Okay, so let's look at it because I think a lot of you, I don't think you remember. So the formal letter is also known as a business letter. Yes, you guys got that correct. Right? It is different from friendly letter or informal letter. Okay? Okay, so before we get into how many parts, let me explain the purpose of having a formal letter. So a formal letter is written communication between yourself and a business, an establishment, someone that you don't know, that you don't have personal relations with, rather than they're not your family member, they're not your friend, they're not your acquaintance, they're not your pen pal, but this is someone that you're writing to because this is strictly business, right? So the purpose of writing the formal letter is for you to communicate effectively to a business or an individual based on a certain matter. So it could be an inquiry, it could be based on you wanting to thank them, it could be you want to invite them to a function. Also, you want to
make a complaint.
Make a complaint. So this is so everything that I name of, those are the purpose or the reasons of actually writing a business letter. Okay, so this is a formal way on writing or written communication between you and an organization or you and an individual that you do not know. Okay, all right, so how many parts does a business? We said a friendly letter or informal letter have 5 parts. How many parts does a business letter have?
They're saying 6.
Okay, 6. Are you sure? Are you sure?
All right, yeah, everyone's still saying 6.
All right, you are correct.
Good job, guys.
6. Oh, I think I tricked someone. Someone said 7.
Look at this fancy 6.
Fancy 6, that's right. Okay, good. Now, so we know that there are 6 parts to a business letter. Altogether, can you tell me the different parts of a business letter? We already know the parts of a friendly letter. Can you write or can you tell me the parts of a business letter? We already established there's 6. Can you identify them for me, please? Okay, so we're going through and make sure we're going through our objectives. We're achieving our objectives as we're doing all of this. Remember, if you're saying 6, you should be giving me 6. Mr. Walken, you see any answers? Or Ms. 2, you see any?
I see a bunch. I see heading, I see greeting, heading, body, closing, signature, inside address, not in order. LeRon needs to change his picture, man. What the hell? All right.
Yeah.
Okay, address, salutation, body closing, Tamika says. Okay, heading, inside address, salutation, body closing, signature, Denisha. So yes, multiple answers, not necessarily in order.
Okay, so, what comes first before I show? So we're going to go through the answers. What comes first on a business letter? What's the first thing do you see on a business letter? What should be the first thing you have on a business heading? So let's see if you're correct. Ding, 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 you are correct. So this is the writer's address and date. So this is your information, right? And the date that you're writing it, right? Good job. Now, what is the second part of a business letter? What's the second part?
Okay, they're saying the inside address.
Are you sure?
Inside address, inside address, inside address, inside.
You are correct. Good job, students. So your inside address. So this is your receiver's name. So let's just say we're writing a letter to our principal, right? So we have Mistress, I won't say her first name, Mistress blank role, right? Then we have our job title, or her job title, which she's the principal, right? Where does she work? Her place of work, C.C.Sweeting Senior High School. And then we would have the address, which would be the P.O. Box for C.C.Sweeting Senior High School, and then Nassau, Bahamas.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's just to fill in so you can fully understand what I'm talking about when we say receiver's name, job title, place of work, and address. Now, good. So we know the inside address. And remember, anytime you're writing a business letter, you cannot forget these things inside the inside address. These things are very important. Okay? Because anytime this letter is being sent, what you have on the inside address in the letter, it goes on what? That the letter goes in. What does it go on that the letter goes in? The envelope. You are correct. Okay, so it goes on the envelope. So whoever's delivering this letter, they're looking at the information on the envelope to ensure, and this will make sure that it goes to the right person, the right place. All right? Okay, so number 3, so we have the third part, right? So what's the third part of a business letter after the inside address? What's the next part? Come on, say salutation.
Salutation and greeting.
Mm.
Sure.
Sure.
You are correct. Yes, your salutation, which is your greeting. Now, when we say salutation, greeting, what do you say? Dear John? Dear Mark? I mean, how do you present, or what do you put?
Okay, so somebody says, "Dear Mr. Johnson, dear Mistress, Mr."
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Mrs. Dennis and Mrs. Toot, I forgot. There's a trick to the inside address that I teach my students, because you
can teach us today.
I realize that is the inside address is what they muck up the most.
It is. It is.
If not, either they mess it up or they don't even write it.
No, that is
okay. But what I usually instruct them to do is I say, okay, for the inside address, remember NPPPN. Okay? N for name. No, seriously. N for name, P for position, P for place, P for P.O. Box, and N for Nassau, Bahamas. That's usually
great
how I do it.
Okay. I like that one. Yeah.
I mean, because like you said, they students tend to remember acronyms more than anything.
Yeah.
So
now you may ask me, Mr. Walking, well, what about how do you make sure they don't mix up those pieces? Well, I can't help you with that. they just have to remember.
That is true.
They still have to remember. But I mean, it's just a little, NPPPN, so they know that, okay, there are 3 P's. One has to be the position, one has to be the place, one has to be the P.O. Box.
Yeah.
And then it's usually Nassau, Bahamas at the end.
Yeah.
So,
So yes, Mr. Joaquin, you are correct. And students, I think that's a very important note that Mr. Joaquin just made. This is one of the letters that you have to ensure that you have the correct information and it has to be in order. Okay.
Yes.
So Mr. Walking just put it, I think he put it in the chat. It have to be in order for you to gain the marks for the inside address. I mean, Ms. Toot can let us know, but Ms. Toot, do they, let's say for instance, they get job title and place of work mixed up. They
Yeah,
would
then
get the
they lose
entire inside
points
address
for
wrong.
organization.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you
So you
lose
do lose
points.
points based on how many errors you have. Even if it's just mixing up, certain things, you lose points.
Yes. Okay. So like Ms. Toot said, you lose points when you're writing your business letter if you, just switch around one of the positions or the place or the address on the inside address. You're going to lose points. So this is something you need to pay very special attention to, okay? So you guys are all correct when you said with the salutation. Now, after the name, dear Mr. or Mr. Whomever, or Sir, Madam, what comes after? What comes after?
The body, they're saying.
Okay, I think you guys missed the point, but okay, we're gonna bypass it because we're gonna get back to that anyway. Okay, so yes, so the fourth one would be your body, which is your paragraphs, right? Okay, so we have 3 paragraphs. So what's the fifth part of the business letter? What's the fifth part of the business letter?
They're saying the closing.
The closing. So you are correct. So your formal closing now, not informal, not your friend. Can you guys give me examples of closing for a formal letter? Let's see how this is going to work. Ms. Toot, let's see if they're gonna actually give us a few. So students, can you give me one example of a formal closing?
See, respectfully.
Okay.
Regards, sincerely.
Okay.
Yours truly.
Okay.
Sincerely.
Anyone else? So yes, you guys are correct. All of those are, well, too, you could use yours truly for formal, right?
Yeah.
You could use that for formal and informal. But I mean, for informal, you really wouldn't use truly. You would say your friend, your pal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
we were advised to just let them use sincerely.
Yeah.
Just to keep it simple, just sincerely, nothing
Just
else.
sincerely with that comma at the end.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that would make more sense because I think it becomes a little tricky for them when it's time to.
Then they don't know if it's yours sincerely or yours truly or truly yours or
Yes.
truly or sincerely. Just put sincerely.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. So guys, so what Ms. Toot and Mr. Joaquin is saying is that when you're writing your informal letter, to be on the safe side, you can just put sincerely and your comma. Okay? And what's the last part of a business letter? And then we're going to recap and then wrap up. We're going to close the lesson out.
They're saying the signature.
Someone say, I think your signature, you think? So yes, you are correct. You are correct. Now, this can become a little tricky with your signature. How do you write your signature on a formal letter, on a business letter?
First, they're saying first and last name.
All right. Yes. Your first and last name. Because remember, they don't know who Mike is. They don't know who John is, or Nana, Mary, Sue. They don't know any of those persons. But if you put your first and last name, then they have a better chance of being able to find you if they have to, okay? As well as they have your address at the top of your letter. So let's wrap up. Let's recap. What is a informal letter? What is an informal letter? Or who do we write an informal letter to? Who do we write an informal letter to?
They're saying it's a friendly letter. You write it to a friend. Very good. A letter that you write to your friends or family.
Or acquaintance. Good job. Yes, you guys are correct. Good job. How many parts do we have to a informal letter, which is a friendly letter? How many parts do we have to a friendly letter?
5. They're saying 5.
Okay, so we have 5 parts, right? Good. Now let's look at a business letter, okay, which is also known as the formal letter. Okay, how many parts do we say we have to a business letter? I mean, I think it already on the screen, but you know.
Ladies, just pardon me. I have to leave. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so they're saying there are 6 parts of the business letter.
Okay, 6 parts of the business letter. Good. What is the purpose of writing a business letter? I name off a few of them to you. What is the purpose of writing a business letter? I name a few of them off to you earlier. What's the purpose? Or why would you write a business letter? To invite.
Appreciation, a letter of appreciation.
Okay.
A letter of complaint, to make a complaint.
Right.
Congratulations.
Okay. Anyone else? Good job. You guys are so.
Thank you.
You guys are brilliant. Yes, you are all correct. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to continue. I think there's only maybe a few more slides. We're going to continue with this tomorrow because we're over time. So you guys have a nice day.
I think we